One out of 4 children in Scotland are part of single-parent families. So that's not a niche group. That's quite a large group of children. We also know that half of children in single-parent families are living in poverty. So it just seems mad not to use the opportunity of making sure that fathers are involved when it's appropriate, and it usually is appropriate, to make sure that those children achieve what they can. So there's a big there's just an imperative, I think, to do that. So at OPFS, I'm going to just skip to what we do a bit. We, in Edinburgh, we're probably best known for, we actually have 3 project workers that are dedicated to working with fathers. Cattanach funding, partially funding one of those posts, but we're probably best known for, we do Saturday activities from 2 groups. So we have 2 groups every Saturday that are going out with dads and kids. And that's to help them, first of all, it's to know what's even out there, because sometimes, depending on the situation, dads, they're not quite clear what they can do with their children that's cheap and low cost. And particularly in Edinburgh, we're really lucky. Edinburgh's full of great things to do. Some of it's extortionate, but most of it, you can find some really low-cost things to do, and that's really important. Obviously, it brings guys together, and we all know the importance of getting fathers who think they're the only ones in their situation together and forming a bit of peer support. And that's in some ways it's the simplest, but the most important thing that we can do is help families not feel isolated. And that's something that comes back from mums and dads, is constantly people feel like they're on their own, they can't share things with other people, and that's a really important thing that we do. That obviously breeds confidence. We want parents to feel confident in what they're doing and how they're managing children. For guys that are just have contact, once a week or a few times a week, it can be really difficult to build up a relationship with your child that where you feel like you know how to respond in a way that's going to be supportive and make sense to that child. And I think having some kind of softly approach from staff every week, helping you do that is really good. We also take that support during the week. We do a lot of one-to-one help for guys. So that might come through the groups, that might come out of conversations in the group, but it probably, there's a lot of guys that we see one-to-one who maybe, for whatever reason, can't come on the Saturday, or they're just not ready for that at the moment, or they may need some more intensive help. So those groups and that kind of support is really important. We generally, and every family is different, but we generally have kind of 2 different scenarios of situations that we help with, and I'm sure this will be familiar to you guys. I've got 2 people that I'll anonymize their names that kind of represent that. The first case study would be, we'll call him Barry. Barry was 34 years old when he came to the project, and his son was about a year. When his son was first born, Barry's mum was really ill following the birth and was in hospital for about a month. And over that period, Barry was the full-time carer for that infant. And a bit, I think Ian referred to these kinds of situations, so he was really intensely involved in the care of that child. Mum came out of hospital, and there'd obviously been some relationship issues, and then completely cut off contact. So it took him a few months to find us, but then he came to us and he's just really distraught, as you would be, and had involved lawyers, and this would be probably a time when we would depend on Families Need Fathers a bit. We don't, we gave lots of phone support to Barry, but there's only so much that we're able to do in that situation face to face when his child isn't about. But we kept in touch with him. It was really important to keep checking in with him. He did get he got more contact, started coming along to the Saturday groups, and then was able to engage in a way that I was just talking about. So he's meeting other guys. He's having fun with this kid. He's not, none of his friends had children, and then all of a sudden he's making new relationships, and that grew. We became more involved with him, supporting his legal, some of his legal proceedings. He did get printed. Did I mention he wasn't on the birth certificate at first, which was really important in terms of his access. So he eventually did make that happen, which was great. We supported that. He's now a much more regular attender at the group, and he sees his child a lot more, and it's really interesting to see him not only having fun, but also, now his child's 3, and 3-year-olds can be tricky at times. And, so he's got to learn how to deal with those situations when it's not all fun and games, and it's real life. And that feels like, that's real parenting, isn't it? So that's been really, we feel like a success story of just one of many people in that situation. The second scenario, which is probably more relevant for Cattanach and the money that they give us to do the work, is a father who has full-time care of his child, and we'll call him Bob. He came to us when he was 52. Mom had been, immediately after the second child was born, Mom had some mental health problems and addiction issues, so it just became impossible for her to be involved in the child's life due to child protection proceedings. So that brought with it, a social worker, placement in Children Family Center, local authority family center. So there was more people involved, and in some ways that can be more intimidating for Dad, and I think that can be a little bit scary for folks. So we got involved, met with those other professionals, but also was seeing Dad every week. And lots of times, I'm sure you guys are the same, I think third sector organizations are the people that are seeing these families the most, and we're the ones that actually have the most amount of information and positive information about how families are getting on. So we were able to, Dad had kind of some stress and anxiety issues himself, helped him institute a bit of routine into his both children's lives, helped him deal with Mom. Mom was quite erratic in that she would show up at the door unannounced, very unsettling for the children and for Dad. Able to advocate and make sure that stopped. Dad had some health issues and some debt issues, so we're helping him sort these things out during the week in a one-to-one capacity. And also use the group. So he's been a regular attender of the group for about 1.5 years now, maybe longer than that. And it's been really great to just see everything just calm down a bit, and the children smile a bit, and Dad responding to the children in a way that you can feel he's not carrying that level of stress that he was. And those are obviously more complex situations, and in a way, we had Cattanach funding for an initial 3 years, and then we kind of identified this specific situation when fathers were taking over in these scenarios where there's children's hearings, and it's been great to develop the work so that we can devote time to this particular scenario, which takes a lot of, it does take a lot of time and support for the families involved.